morning. Good morning.
Yeah.
Welcome on the Monday morning. It's Monday.
Yes.
It's Monday.
The 5th of August.
Definitely. And of course, you're welcome to Wake Up Nigeria on a brand new week, brand new month.
Indeed.
Even though we started the month
Last week.
At the week. And well, wishing all the best to everyone out there in Nigeria. And the UK also. There's a reason why I mentioned those two places specifically. But hey, come on, no matter the clouds out there, there's that scintilla that they call a silver lining. Well, we're here to accentuate that silver lining and be that splash of sunshine in your face.
There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always a solution to every problem. We just have to find it. And it's quicker if we find it together. If we're all on the same page.
Definitely,
yeah.
Definitely. If you want to go fast, they say you go alone. But if you want to go far,
you go together. Indeed.
My name is Mike Mesikeno.
And I'm Titilayo Oyinson. Wake Up Nigeria is going to be here all the way till almost 9 a.m. That's about 8:45. And yeah, we have an amazing bumper package for you. Speaking of bumper packages, she is one of the most intellectually sound human beings you can ever meet.
Hallelujah.
Yes, by the time she opens her mouth, you pause because you just don't know what she's going to say next. Mary.
Thanks for the shade. It's early in the morning. It was coming as a compliment, and then you just have to throw that one. I'm working on it. That unfiltered must stop. Amen. Actually,
but we love you for that now, Mary. We love you for it.
Well, sometimes I actually wish I didn't say exactly what was on my mind. It can be dangerous.
Since I know you don't they walk on now. Since I know you.
No.
You never walk finish.
Actively 2 years ago.
Nah, don't mind me. I'm just kidding. But hey, come on. It's going to be a wonderful show that we have in store for you today.
Indeed.
You can hit us up on social media. It's at TVC Entertainment across Facebook, X, TikTok, LinkedIn, and of course, Instagram. Use the hashtag Wake Up Nigeria on TVC to interact with us.
And of course, if you want to watch us live, but you need to move around, need to plan the day, all you have to do is just hit us up on YouTube. Search for TVC Entertainment. We're streaming there live right now throughout the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's head straight to what we have this morning. It's a Monday morning, and normally we'll take a look at what happened over the weekend. There is a lot.
Too much.
Just too much.
Then, of course, we'll be having a musical performance. Dave Cash, or Ladipupo David is his actual name. He's a really versatile artist, and he used to belong to a rap group called UDHR, Universal Declaration of Heavenly Rappers. And today, he's going to be performing No Pressure. Okay.
What a weekend.
Monday.
What a weekend.
I think we need motivation this Monday more than ever, you know. Motivation. Okay. Well,
it's
in
Monday.
different ways.
Normally, yes. Someone said motivation is like a bath.
Exactly.
You have to take it every day. So quite a number of things running through my mind. Actually, two major things are on my mind right now. On the one hand, today is National Dashcam Day, and I really don't know why we don't really imbibe that culture in Nigeria. Like, I feel most drivers will save themselves a lot of stress and explanation.
So for those that don't understand, dash cams is a camera that's on the dashboard of a vehicle. A lot of people abroad are buying them. There are some vehicles here in Nigeria that
actually have them, but people don't know.
Ride-hailing apps, right? They're supposed to all have them.
And some of these new cars actually have them installed, especially those you buy from Asia. You see that there's a dash cam there. However, the other thing that really bothers me is the UK riots. There's a lot going on right now around the world. However, the UK riots is another thing in a totally different, I dare say, dimension. Because when you think about, to a large extent, security, one of the countries that comes to mind is the United Kingdom. So with everything that is happening now, it's terrifying.
It is. The moment the young man's birthday, his 18th birthday is going to be on Wednesday. And the moment the judge decided to name him, and I saw that it was a black man, I knew it was going to be trouble.
Wow.
I knew it was going to be trouble. He's of Rwandan heritage and all of that. And she exercised her authority, her veto, to name him because knowing that his 18th birthday was coming soon. 3 girls are dead.
Wow.
A number fought for their lives in the hospital. 2 attempts. It was sad. And so because of that, you have far-right extremists who are going, you know. And it's about the same thing everywhere, maybe even here. But one thing I want to say is kudos to majority of us in Lagos State. Lagos State was quite very peaceful,
Yeah.
unlike some other places. And someone mentioned something. I said, when a protest takes too long, you start seeing people with different agenda. Some people say it's the government. Whether it's the government or whether it's people want to take advantage because people are suffering.
Yeah.
So you see those that don't mind eating other people. I mean, there's a time in one of the holy literature where it was so bad that people were deciding when to eat their kids. Have you seen? You understand? So what happens is this: things can get so bad, and even the people that are fighting for, the cause, and now they cannot be so debased as much as going to fight and injure other people who are on the same side with them.
Yes.
So be careful.
It's almost like they can't tell the difference. It's all about the tummy infrastructure, as we tend to refer to it as. But hey, we can only hope for the best for Nigeria and for the world in general as well. God bless us.
And welcome. It's Wake Up Nigeria, and it's time for a news update. My name is Titilayo Oyinson. Thank you for joining us. In Lagos, the state government has appreciated the protesters for their peaceful demonstration during the nationwide protest. According to a statement by the Lagos State Commissioner for Information, Gbenga Omotosho, the Lagos State government will continue to hold dialogue and engage with relevant stakeholders, including leaders of the protest. Governor Sanwo-Olu said, quote, "Your stoppage of the protest today is a crystal clear affirmation of the fact that you know your collective voice has been heard by government. What you have done is not only noble, but the civilized thing to do," end quote. The commissioner says Governor Sanwo-Olu has directed the Ministry of Youth and Social Development and the Ministry of Information and Strategy and Office of Civic Engagement to immediately open wider channels of engagement with the stakeholders. He added that the Executive Council members in charge of the ministries can be reached on the following dedicated citizens access lines. Office of Civic Engagement on 0802 522 4347. Ministry of Information and Strategy 0811 965 788. Ministry of Youth and Social Development 0707 717 8295. Away from that story now, security operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have intercepted multiple consignments of illicit drugs concealed in tins of baby food and clothes being smuggled to the United States and United Kingdom. About 36 parcels of cannabis concealed in 6 cartons of baby food were recovered at the Sahol export shed of Murtala Mohammed Airport. In the same vein, 5 different shipments of opioids and other psychoactive substances concealed in clothes and other items meant for export to the US and UK were equally intercepted by NDLEA operatives in Lagos. In Edo State, 22 and a half bags of cannabis were recovered from Egbeta community, Ovia Northwest area of Edo State. While another suspect was arrested with 40 blocks of the same substance along Okene-Lokoja Highway en route Kano State. Outside Nigeria, at least 90 persons have been killed in Bangladesh as a clash between police and anti-government protesters intensify. The unrest comes as student leaders declared a campaign of civil disobedience to demand that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina step down. The police say 13 officers were killed when thousands of people attacked a police station in the district of Siranjang. At first, the student protest started with a demand to abolish quotas in civil service jobs, but the protest has now turned into a wider anti-government movement. Police have used tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse demonstrators around the country and enforcing a nighttime curfew. And that's all we can take on the news for this hour. There will be more coming up next.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't hail Olam this is as you know, agree here, make a heal for here.
What?
About fun, now why they go my leave?
Can you imagine?
Yeah, so where do we start? There's a whole lot that happened over the weekend. There's a whole lot to unpackage from the protest, which is definitely a major thing. The president's speech after that, and the conduct of people in different places. I want to really say, yes, Lagos, we did well. We held our own quite well for those of us, for those who went out to protest at the Ganifa Park and Peace Park in K2. And of course, on some other places, I saw the police even handing out water, biscuits, and all of that. And it was good to see. It was good to see that yes, you can protest without destroying property, without being aggressive, without being confrontational. You know, so mostly in Lagos, but that was not the same in most parts of the north. In Kano State, Katsina, Kaduna State, I saw some images that were very, very
troubling.
You know, yeah, I mean, there was somebody who went on the traffic light. There was a government agency.
On the traffic light.
I think it was a tech agency, and you saw the chairs. There were new chairs. They were taking out stuff from the place. Then this one was one that was bamboozled me the most. See, a set of these guys just went to the slabs on the drainage. Just started hitting the slabs.
Just so they can get the iron.
Just hitting the slabs.
Crazy stuff.
Slabs.
How about the mill?
Slabs on.
How about the mill? The meal that has been set up to help alleviate, hunger in the land. And then you guys not only looted the rice, at least you've stolen the rice, it's bad enough. Leave. You looted the rice and then set it on fire. Like, why would you set such a blaze?
So generally, we are all saying the same thing. Yeah, the government at this point pointed. A lot of people pointed out to 2012 protests and how the president at the moment was part of the protest and other people and all. But if you notice, if you remember something about those protests, they were all in that park.
Yeah.
Same Ganifa Park.
I was there. I covered it.
Exactly. Of course.
Yeah.
We're there. It was all in that park. It was quite very organized. There were no issues of this thing. But now, the situation around the world is just so, it's on knife edge. From Kenya, what happened in Kenya and up until other places.
We mentioned the UK as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You cannot be calling for blood in that kind of way. People have spoken about that. I'm going through history and look at that. Has there been revolution without bloodshed? That's what people are, But in this day and age, there have been referendums in such a way as such that people actually split if they need to, peacefully. Dialogue. And that's what the government is calling for, dialogue. Let's talk. Even if you still want to protest, no matter how long it is, you cannot destroy properties. The police have stated it. If you go and do pass weightings, you buy anything you chop, and you go see them. So
I've always just been of the opinion that I just need to know who I am backing. I need to know who exactly is speaking and what they are saying, and whether what they are saying is truly what they're trying to say. Because for the longest time before the protest began, we weren't sure who exactly was pushing I'm going to use the term agenda, the main agenda here. Yes, of course, it is a hunger process. Everyone is feeling it, even though, yes, we put on makeup and wig every day. We know we are feeling it. Yes, we are feeling it as well. And sometimes it makes it seem like, people that speak in the media don't go through the things that, because they don't say some certain things. But the issue now is, was it clear to the entire country what the whole protest was going to turn out to be?
It was. The hashtag is end bad government.
In the north, was it clear?
It was. That's why the thing now is that we're saying people who go to hijack it, they know, everybody was clear about what it was. And let me tell you one thing, looking at everything, and this is to government, and when I say government, a lot of people, when they say government, a lot of people think about the head honcho, the person in charge.
Sure.
We have 3 tiers of government. And then apart from the 3 tiers of government, and all of that, we even have, it even falls down to low. I mean, just recently we were talking about autonomy for local government areas and their finances. Even though there's talk about Oyo State deciding to move out from that formula and say they still want to go and receive their money from their state. But there's a whole lot. Leadership, I mean, the other day we saw an essay to the SSA of a particular governor. The person had 13 cars in his convoy.
The essay.
Special assistant to senior special assistant.
had
Wow.
13 cars.
Wow.
So I'm just saying to government as a whole, like
did
the
I miss?
problem where a lot of people said is, if we are saying that everything is bad around the world, then let us sit in you. You cannot be spending so much money. That's everyone in government. And then the people are the ones that you want to take that break, or the ones that you want to bear the brunt of the global recession. Are you even feeling it? So that if we know that we are in it, have you noticed? You noticed that, you know that thing where you're going home and then there's, people that you have lights with. And you notice that all of them have lights.
And you don't.
Then you don't have lights.
And you're
How do you
wondering-
feel? Then if something happens, then everybody's light now goes off.
Then
How do you feel?
Lawmakers
It's
said they are
easier.
cutting their salary by half now.
We had somebody come up here and showed an alert of 900,000. But that was basic. You understand? There's much
Basic
more.
without other allowances.
There's much more. My point is that if all of us there and we did the darkness, it's easier for us to
Come
understand
together.
each other.
Yeah.
And so we are saying that not only the people should bear the brunt, and that's one of the major things. Not from every other person, leadership, from the Senate, the governors, local government chairman, the special advisors, there's just so many of them. So if I think about it, that to fuel my car, that is a 4 or 6 plug and all of that, I know how much I spend, and I see a convoy with 20 cars, and that
You're
eight V engines.
Yeah.
You know how much just to fuel them, and then with people around. So that's what I'm saying.
So,
There
you
should
know,
be empathy from leadership.
the thing is this. There are actually several angles to look at this. On the one hand, there's absolutely nothing wrong in protesting if you know exactly what your aims and objectives are.
Which is where I was
Which is
Yeah.
for me, it is key.
Yeah.
The reality is people who hijack are many. Whenever there are protests, there are people who always take advantage of the situation. It's almost a normal thing politically, and it's not a Nigerian thing. However, Nigerians are looking for answers.
There's still too many questions.
There are just too many questions, and
Yeah.
there are so many things hanging in the air. So it was really important for the president to make that address yesterday. And while some people still say some questions were not answered, I would say that it was, for me, encouraging. At least
The fact that he
there was
came out
a
to say
response,
something,
yes.
yeah.
And then if you look at some of the things that has been said, certain things that have been put in place, motions that are being expected from, I particularly was pleased about the food issue, because for 6 months, there will be, no more duties on certain items, food items and pharmaceutical products, because believe me, asthmatic people are not smiling right now, and not just them.
Medication.
If someone is ill right now, you're paying through your nose to get treated, and it's actually alarming. So those were actually encouraging for
Standing
me.
for that one.
However, there
it
is
can't go
no.
well.
However,
As long as the companies,
Because those companies left the country, and then we're now buying those things through third party. So even if you remove the imports, it's just very little.
Not all of those
the
countries
dollar-
left.
but
Not
the
all
dollar-
of those
the
companies.
dollar-
Right, you-
See,
dollar-
that's another thing I think we also need to get clear on this pharmaceutical thing. Yes, we have big pharmaceutical companies, but there are actually some smaller ones that could do with the patronage, and they have good products as well. Maybe this is the time for us to seek out those ones and actually give them the patronage they deserve. Another thing we forget is just like Ampiclox, for example. There's the big one, and I use
Yeah,
big because
of course.
it's kind of like goes with the
It's a
brand I'm
big
talking
pharma,
about.
big pharma.
That if
Yeah.
you use their products and you
Yeah.
don't get fixed, then something is seriously
Wrong,
wrong.
yeah.
However, you can still get the smaller priced one and still get the treatment you need. So most times people go for that one because it's a known name, and that's the advantage of actually being an established brand. But doesn't mean you could get better.
So
you
it's the
could
same,
get
it's the
better
same,
without
same companies we're talking
using-
about.
They have smaller
the same
options.
There are. But
there
it's
are.
just the brands
If you go to the market, you will
very
get.
powerful.
But how many people
Yeah.
actually patronize them?
The ones that are inhalers from.
There are.
Yes, there are cheaper inhalers. There are.
But the issue is you have to go out and find them because they're not all readily available
Yeah.
until probably now that a lot of the big
I'm saying this
pharmas are
because
doing
of the duties you mentioned, because some of these things that are being waived would be advantageous for those pharmaceutical companies locally to also develop themselves more. However, this is me asking Nigerians to please be kind to one another, and I'm saying this deliberately. It's one thing for the government to be saying, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that, and trying to make efforts. It's another thing for us, the people, to even have the fear of God. Yes, let me use that as the phrase. The way people are pricing things, the way you know, I mentioned Price Regulatory Commission a couple of weeks back because I find it appalling that things are just going out of hand. Food items, you know, medications generally, everything is being priced out of the reach of the average person, and I find that worrisome. Please, let's do better. I know we all need money. I need money, but my salary will not increase to accommodate everything because at the end of the day, my employer too has certain bills they have to meet, and it's the same for several other Nigerians. In fact, there's a lot to say about
I wanted
this.
to bring it back to also parents who did what they could to keep a lot of the youth home and keep them off, you know, out of...
Parents.
Yes, there were some parents that kept... Yes, there were a lot of parents. I'm on quite a few WhatsApp groups that kept their young people away from doing certain things over the weekend. I'm talking about them just running amok, for instance, because we have to I know we have to
Continue with this, right?
We have to.
Yes, we have to. We'll run past time. But there's quite a whole lot to unpack, probably in the second lap. Talk about this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
yeah, we are actually wrapping it up for this particular minute. We're going to be taking a quick break, but we have more. Okay, at this point, let's take a quick look at what's happening on the covers of the dailies this morning. It is Monday, 5th of August, 2024. We have the Punch newspaper. Of course, Mike is here with me.
Yeah.
We have the Punch newspaper with us first up. It says here, of course, hunger protest. Tinubu's speech attracts knocks and kudos. Sri Lanka PDP slam president's address. NGO, others hail it. Protest organizers demand 1,150 detainees release. And top left, retail investors may shun bank stocks as shareholders lose 1.6 trillion naira. Marketers stop fuel supply queues resurface. Public debt may hit 130 trillion by December, according to a report. How we broke 20-year jinx to reach Olympic quarterfinals from the Tigers. And bottom left there, JAM gives tertiary institutions ultimatum to disclose illegal admissions. And on hardship, states get 570 billion naira grant. All right, Mike, any story?
The major one, of course, is the headline about the speech, the president's speech, attracts knocks and kudos. So yes, it works. It's expected. Not everybody will be satisfied with it.
Sure.
Some people might be, some people will not be. So there is now room for dialogue, as it were, you know, and that is what democracy is all about. That is what we expect. You see, a very, very important tool when it comes to democracy and what we do is our representatives. That's talking about the Senate and the House of Reps. You know, they are a major part. Are they speaking the mind of their constituents? Because if they are speaking the mind of their constituents, then they can form consensus on whatever needs to be done and present issues to the president and all of that. And that has been, there is a disconnect between senators, House of Reps, and their constituents. When I mean a disconnect, it's not like it's in every situation, but it is not as, that will, you know, is not as fluid as it can be when it comes to relation between the constituents and their representatives. If it's that fluid, and they should be carrying our minds, they should also be the ones to push this out of our way. So there's a lot that we need from our representatives.
I like, you know, the term representatives means that there has been this opportunity for people to also gather together and come to a consensus that this is what they want. It's been a long time since I've even heard of, you know, different meetings and places where people come together to even speak to local government representatives, etc., to even take it up. You mentioned 3 tiers of government earlier on today, and I'm wondering if we've actually used all the channels available to get these messages to the top as of right now. I wish I had had that opportunity earlier on to send those messages. I think we need to create some kind of easy flow of information right from the bottom all the way to the top. Let's see, which other paper do we have here? We have the Vanguard newspaper. It says here, protests, Tinubu's broadcast fell short of expectations. Page 5 says it has more info. It says also at the bottom here, just below the masthead. It says, federal government reforms have not brought promised renewed hope, according to Catholic bishops. IBB disowns post endorsing military rule. Households struggle to cope with galloping food prices. It also says on the hardship protests, some people want to blackmail me, according to Obi. And it says here, stop bloodshed, ex-ADC presidential candidate Kachiko begs protesters. That's what we have on the cover of the Vanguard.
And that is it. That is the major thing, like you mentioned. That last headline, which is let's stop the bloodshed. You can, we've stated it, and we cannot overemphasize it. And I think that's where that's a challenge with the protest that goes on too long. You understand? You have people, and you have time for people to plan and hijack it, as it were. So
I have the Daily Independent here with me as well. It says here, Tinubu draws flack after broadcast on the hashtag #EndBadGovernance protest. It says here also at the top left, bank chairman, CEOs divided over federal government's forex windfall tax. Protests, Serap to Commonwealth, hold federal government to account for attacks on journalists. Then it also says here, JAMB uncovers discrepancies in 2024-2025 tertiary admissions. NDLEA intercepts drug consignments in baby food tins, clothes to US and UK. Grounding of Arik Air Fleet spells doom for aviation sector, say experts. Now, that's a story that you can find on the cover and wrapping up on page 7. Let me see. Enugu government approves 183 billion naira for 141 urban roads, 20 rural roads. That's what we have on the cover of the Daily Independent. This issue with the issue with JAMB, I was worried about that.
That's what I would have even spoken about also about. There was a video I saw here of a colleague who spoke about, and she put up a voice note. In fact, this was excerpts from a call between the registrar of JAM and the VCs of universities who were deliberating on cut-off marks. And people were pushing for as low as 100. Some polytechnics and colleges of education were even pushing for 80 out of 400.
Cut-off mark?
I am telling you.
Wow.
They had discussions, and then they're going, okay, the VC of this place stands up, I'm the VC of da-da-da-da-da-da. And I pushed for 140. 140 was the highest. And then you had people, other VCs, seconding those.
What was the cut-off mark when we were in school?
At least it had to be 200. I made 280 in my exam. At least, yeah, you had 250.
Yeah.
For different courses. Medicine, medicine, you get 240 now.
Wow.
Different courses get this thing. Now they're telling 140.
To get into a tertiary institute.
What are we saying now? I don't understand. Polytechnic, we're going for 100. Then the people that are going to teach your children, that's colleges of education. Some of them are pushing for 80. 80.
Wow.
80 is fail now. Oh, 80 is 150.
Let my people go is
80.
maybe 180.
What are you saying?
180, 200 was let my people go.
So you want people that failed a particular exam to be the ones to teach you? What would they pass on to the children? How does that even make sense?
Honestly,
where does that one even start?
I need to hear that voice note.
They were going as low as 80. And why should somebody wants to go and study engineering? You have 4 courses, you out of the 400. You understand? You're doing 4. It's 4, right? Not 5.
Well, what were the reasons they were giving?
They're not giving reasons now. They just came up there and just say 4 courses. You're writing 4 courses. Each one amounts to 100.
Yeah.
There's maths, if you're doing engineering, your maths, your English, physics, and maybe chemistry or something. You need to score.
Wow. It's scary.
140.
It's a
What was
scary
the highest? 140.
Wow.
I was 208 at the house for supplementary. It was supplementary admission, University of Port Harcourt.
Wow.
What was Unilag cutoff?
Wow, you was
Then you don't feel, they don't burn you well. You want to go
4.
Unilag, you want to see cutoff. What I say, medicine was 250 some years now, 260. The particular year, medicine was 260.
That's
So
incredible.
you were going to write your this more. But they're telling
All right.
me, you want to go and study medicine, tell me 140. Like,
How?
What?
Someone, well, All right.
Maybe that thing was doctored.
We will have
Because
to.
of the people that were doing it. So now they let us know the issues that we've known that will cut off. But if the VCs, man,
You know what? It's a conversation that we can't finish now, but we'd love to
Yeah.
hear your thoughts on some of the headlines we've read today. Use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC and tag us WakeUpNigeria TVCE on Instagram. At this point, I would love to hear Mary's cutoff mark. What's your preferred cutoff mark, Mary?
After writing JAM twice, you start telling yourself that you better gain admission because when you write the first one, you can start with 230. The next one, you have 225. Then you know there's problem because the next one after that might be 210. So basically, that's the story of some of us lives. But hey, it is what it is right now. Well, the best thing to use to dissipate anger and tension is good food, right? So welcome to the kitchen right here on Wake Up Nigeria. We've got Chef Ariola in the kitchen with us, not just today, but all month long. Great to have you in the studio.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Okay, so we're going to be learning a lot. Of course, picking his culinary brain to learn a few tricks. Like what he's about to make for us this morning is something I've never thought of, because we know of coconut rice and the rest. But hey, tell us what we're having for breakfast.
So we're having coconut yam porridge.
Coconut yam porridge. Did I hear your brain go ding? Why haven't I thought of that before? Because that's what happened to my brain this morning. Okay, so coconut yam porridge. Let's talk about the ingredients. What are we making use of?
So we have coconut milk, made this myself, coconut flakes,
Made that yourself.
of course, made that myself. Then fresh pepper, so I added some onions and ginger to that. Then, so I did a mixture, so I seasoned groundnut oil, vegetable oil rather, with some herbs.
Okay.
And I mix it with palm oil.
Okay, so that's why we have
That's why
this. In
we
case
have
you're
that.
wondering at that, because when I saw it, I remember Juwan, one of our floor managers, was like, okay, why is this oil looking separate? And I was like, I could bet there was vegetable oil. So I guess I was right.
Yes, so I
Okay,
mixed
so
that.
you said you used herbs. What herbs did you use?
Rosemary and thyme.
Just rosemary and thyme. Okay, why? Why rosemary and thyme?
For the flavor and the aroma. So I just want to add something extra. I just don't want the regular.
Do you fry it in or you just
Yes,
infuse
yes.
it? You fry
Yeah,
it in
fry it in
slightly. For
slightly.
how long?
Maybe like 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Ah,
Just
okay.
on very low heat.
Okay. Rosemary and
Rosemary and thyme.
thyme. Oh, wow.
But if you
Okay.
can get fresh rosemary and thyme,
It will
you
work
could just add
magic.
that
Directly.
directly into this.
Okay. So it's because you're using the dried
dry one,
herbs.
yes.
That's why you have
So I wanted
to
to just
infuse the
infuse
flavor
it.
through frying. Nice. Okay. So you said the pepper has onions
Onions and ginger.
and
Just
ginger.
onion and
That's all you added to
That's
it.
all.
Okay. Is there tomato in it?
Just
Just pepper.
just pepper, but with enough onion and ginger.
Okay.
It's not going to be too. The spiciness will be overwhelming.
Okay. And then, of course, we've got salt, seasoning
Salt, seasoning
cubes.
cube.
That looks like crayfish.
Crayfish, of course, yes.
And then, of course,
So you could decide to maybe use scent leaf or
Okay.
Caesar,
okay.
just to make it a little bit African.
Okay.
Maybe
Yes,
some
that magic it
ugu,
does
yeah,
to
it does
porridge.
to-
Okay.
Because I don't want anything to take away the feel of the coconut.
Okay.
So I just decided to leave
Keep it
those out.
simple. Okay.
I
So,
have something else that is not here.
what's that?
Cumin.
Cumin. Yes, I did see the cumin, but I don't know. You didn't put it here, but it's fine. So cumin is another magical flavor that people don't know, especially when you're making stews. It's amazing. It's the extra to make your stews go ah. Well, Chef Ariola is in the kitchen. We'll boil the yam. We'll start the cooking process. When we get back, we'll show you just how much progress we've made and, of course, carry you along. Tell you what to expect at the end of the show. You're watching Wake Up Nigeria. Just stay with us. We'll be right back.
Well, there are some times when after the rain, there's another rain. But hey, come on. After the rain, we expect some sunshine.
Yeah,
That is what
sure.
we do and give you on Wake Up Nigeria.
Indeed, sunshine, bright smiles, positive energy for a Monday is what everyone needs right now. That little boost to help you get out of bed, help you get things done. And yeah, remember that the kids are still at home for the holidays.
Oh, they are. I'm talking
They are.
about being at home, yeah. A number of people have reached out to us concerning our anniversary giveaway. Now
Yeah,
you know what
sure.
happened over the past few days.
Of course.
But as things clear down, we will definitely come and drop those things. It was just this few, we had planned it, but you know,
Yeah.
with the protests and all of that happening, mobility, of course, was hindered. But we'll get across to you, so just chill, just relax. You will get our anniversary giveaway.
No, honestly, just imagine Mike showing up at your place. Like,
Very
what did you imagine it? Just imagine it. It's worth waiting for. Don't worry, it's worth it. As before, they probably cook a recipe that we've made here on the show. Speaking of recipes, one person who always has the recipe for great conversation is Mary. Hey, Mary, darling.
Really now? Titi,
What?
I'm really grinning from ear to ear today. I'm wondering, am I owing Titi money? No. Am I owing?
you're not.
Did I promise you something?
No, you're looking good today, Mary.
Okay,
How's it
thank you.
going?
Of course, you know now, Ada has got me out of Vichy always. Like,
All right, we'll get to see what you are doing in the kitchen a little bit later after all of
With
this.
Chef Ariola.
Yeah, but let's get straight to what we have left. There is going to be a musical performance.
Yes, indeed.
We've got Dave Cash here.
No pressure. My pressure.
Okay.
I know some of you have been hearing some things from my director, Abi. His
Yeah.
name is Abiodun.
Mr. Abe.
I wonder if they heard
keeps
the
us
Alima
company.
part.
No, Mary.
You might have heard Abiodun and his shenanigans there. Tell him, but if you did hear that, don't worry, we'll sorry that you're not supposed to hear, but sometimes maybe we just want you to just be part of how it goes around
Everything.
here. You understand? So yeah, you know, still on the Olympics, man. I want to, like I said, I want to.
I wanted to mention the U.S. team.
Oh.
So the U.S. team, I watched quite a bit of athletics yesterday night. And of course the finals came through. And the final, the men's 100 meters. So, you know, with every Olympics, there's always this, you know, drama that they try and build. But this time, for that 100 meters final, they actually shut off all the lights, had a nice light show to just prepare and build energy in the stadium for
runners
this
didn't like
particular.
it.
The runners didn't like it. Yeah, that was where I was going.
Well,
The runners-
I didn't see. Funny thing was that I'd seen
there was such a
semifinals.
delay.
I'd seen semi-finals, I'd seen
Yeah.
it, and I'd seen semi-finals.
Yeah.
Then I just turned to watch something else. There was one particular series, it was about to die. And then I just missed, and then I just saw the result. Like, I'd missed the final. I was so pissed, you know.
Sorry.
But it was,
Sorry.
I was
But,
rooting
you know,
for-
with so the thing is, right now, there's so much that they're doing to package this Olympics, social media-wise, media-wise. They're recording, they're doing slow-mo, they're doing all sorts of effects. They're doing all sorts of things that weren't there before in previous Olympics. So preparing for 100 meters, they calculated the movement of every runner, the speed as they were running. So I think that was what caused the delay. I'm just assuming because
You see,
they were being
let me
very
say something.
technical about.
I've given kudos to France
Yeah.
for a very wonderful opening at some level, but France they've been terrible organizers in some ways. The game village was nothing to write home about. Beautiful place. Do you know those guys are sleeping on cardboard?
So I heard.
What do you mean?
There was
in
even-
the bed.
yeah, some people.
Yes,
some
they
people
said it was
shared.
supposed to
They
be
say it's eco-friendly.
So do you know
Yes.
what happens now? These guys now have to go to hotels.
Oh, because
And
they couldn't.
Because one, and what's her name now? Shirley and Fraser Price, she went to a hotel. I had to come from the hotel. They did not allow her enter the gate that athletes were supposed to enter just because she did not come with the bus. And that's how she missed the 100-meter race. She said she could not make it.
Wow.
You can, yeah, you want to be eco-friendly. How do you expect someone to sleep on cardboard? They were very uncomfortable. And then they now go to, even when they're eating, they give them vegan.
Yeah, they're
And these
athletes.
guys-
They're athletes.
They need meat. They need protein. No, they don't need the vegan.
Vegan,
They're complaining, and that's why a
vegan
number of
doesn't
them.
mean there's no meat. That's vegetarian you're talking about.
Ogbeni, they said
No,
those guys, they didn't have
vegan is
egg and
different
meat.
from vegetarian, no.
Me, I'm telling you, they don't get
Vegan
meat
is
now.
no
they tell you.
meat, no-
Those guys, they come out there, they vex.
processed food.
So my point is, say,
Processed.
Paris, they don't do, won't go overdo.
Which one is
We'll
overdue?
talk- we'll talk
They
more
went
about-
green now. Wait, do athletes really? Well, anyhow, Sha.
The athletes that are doing it for their complaining and they left the
I
games
get it.
village. and
There
they
are other
now
sources
talking.
of protein.
What are you saying?
There are other
now?
sources of protein.
They left. There was even no egg except.
No be athletics, you now come.
No except.
All right.
Welcome again to the kitchen right here on Wake Up Nigeria. Chef Ariola has been hard at work preparing breakfast for us. It's coconut
Yam
porridge. Yes. So if you've ever wondered if coconuts could go with yam, you might want to try this recipe. So we've had coconut rice. We've had, I think I've had coconut pasta once, but I do not think I've had anything that has to do with yam and then infusing coconut into it. This is actually new to me as much as it might be new to you as well. So let's learn from Chef Ariola. So far, so good. What have we done?
So our yam is still boiling.
Okay.
So I'm making the sauce that goes with the porridge.
So all we can see now is the pepper that is already in the oil. Please run us through how we arrived at this.
So just lightly bleach the oil.
Okay.
Because it's a mixture of vegetable and palm oil.
Okay.
Then added
Just so that they blend together. Okay.
So I added the pepper. And now the coconut milk is going inside.
Okay. So it hasn't been seasoned at all?
No, not yet.
Okay. So the coconut milk goes in.
So I allow that cook for a while so everything comes together.
That's a lot of coconut milk. Now, you did say you made this yourself. How did you make yours? Because I realized that chefs have their different techniques to achieving the same goal.
There's nothing,
so
nothing
what
special.
was yours? The same blend
Just
and
same blend,
and
but
sieve?
some other things went into that.
Like,
that's
all the chefs and their coded.
but it's just the same process, you know, blend and extract the milk.
You don't want to teach us. We will learn. We
No
will do
problem.
our own stuff. But let's check out the ingredients. They're currently on your screen for the coconut yam pottage. So we've got yam, coconut milk, fish, fresh pepper, seasoning, crayfish, coconut flakes, oil, ginger, and cumin. So those are the ingredients we're making use of for this breakfast. Now, besides the coconut milk, though, you also have the flakes. Yes. So do you use the same coconut? Like, is it possible to use one coconut to achieve
Of course.
that amount of milk
Yes,
and also the
do
coconut
that.
flakes?
Yes.
It's possible?
It's possible.
Okay, so let's say I have a coconut now and I want to make this dish for my family. What do I need to do?
So when you break it open, so you could just set aside a little, because you don't need too much of the flakes.
Okay.
So just set maybe a little, just small chunk, maybe this size. Then you use the rest. You blend that for the
milk.
Yes.
Okay, so what happens to the roughage you get from the blending? Can I still infuse it in the food?
Yes, you can.
Like kind of like the flakes?
Yes.
I can?
You can.
Ah, it won't give it a different taste or
Not at
ruin
all.
the
And
taste?
you can just even sweeten it, maybe a little bit of honey.
Okay.
Just mix it up with the honey on the pan.
Okay.
Just sweeten it up, and then you can use that to maybe.
That's actually quite an idea.
So
Okay.
nothing really waste.
But how many coconuts did you use for this?
It's one.
One for the milk?
The milk.
One for this? Or did you
Just
use one for the
one
entire?
coconut produce
How
for
large?
Maybe my.
Okay.
large.
How much did you buy it? So we can have an idea
Okay,
of the size.
well, she's a regular customer.
Okay.
But I got her for like 500.
500. So 500 naira worth of coconut. So that would be between 500 and 800 naira. What you would
Yes,
usually buy for 500
exactly.
to 800. Just one of it can give you that much milk. I'm sure you saw the milk earlier, and also get you enough to grate so you can make that for your family. So in these times with the cost of pepper and other such, many people are finding alternative ways of making great meals for their family and still feeding as well as they can. This is actually a great alternative. People use curry sauce, for example.
of
Curry
course.
sauce is actually one of the cheapest you can make and still have a decent meal for your family. People think curry sauce is one big thing, but it's so simple to make and it's very affordable. All you need is your curry, water, seasoning, and corn flour.
Probably because not everybody takes curry.
Curry, yes. So if you love curry, you should try making curry sauce at home. It's actually a great way to also save money on the cost of pepper. Okay, all right, so we'll take a break now while we put this together. At the end of the show, don't worry, you see the finished product of our coconut yam porridge. Okay, so Chef Ariola is still busy right here. Let's take this break. You're watching Wake Up Nigeria. Just stay with us. Time for some motivation, and for that we've got Edememe Oladijiwusu. She is a vibrant force in the empowerment space, committed to transforming lives through impactful speaking, coaching, and training programs. She's got a genuine passion for empowering individuals, especially women, and she has a proven track record of transformative outcomes. Well, today on Motivation, we'll be discussing building confidence. Watch your inner dialogue. Good to have you in the studio with us.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. Good morning.
Good morning. Awesome. So, confidence for many people, for me, I've always believed that people don't even understand what confidence actually means, because you're not confident, you're not confident. But could you really break that down for us so people can even understand from your perspective, what would you say confidence is?
Okay. I'll say that confidence is a belief in oneself to do something or achieve something regardless of the obstacles. So it's not something just fuzzy, oh, I'm confident today. What are you confident in? In your ability to do something or in, say, someone else's ability to do something for you. But the underlying is belief in ability to do something or achieve something regardless of the obstacles, because there will be obstacles, but how persistent are you? How much do you believe that you deserve that thing, and how much are you willing to go after that thing? Yeah,
now, on
that's
the other
confidence.
hand, there's the inner dialogue.
Yes.
Now, many people have that inner dialogue. In fact, they say everyone has an inner dialogue. Usually, most people don't even realize the effect and the influence of their inner dialogue on their lives. So when you talk about inner dialogue, what angle are you coming from?
Okay. By inner dialogue, I mean the conversations that we have with ourselves. Because you're right, we always have these conversations. And what we think are our thoughts are actually our inner dialogues. That's you speaking to yourself, but only you can hear it. And we all have that inner dialogue. Sometimes the inner dialogue is great because, for example, you have a deliverable and you're tempted to watch an episode on Netflix. And then your inner dialogue is, are you sure that's the best use of your time right now? You have a deliverable that's due. Why don't you complete that first? And then if there's time, you watch that episode that you want to watch. So sometimes the inner dialogue is good, but most times the inner dialogue is bad because it makes you doubt yourself. You hear comments like, are you sure you can do this? What makes you think that you deserve it? What makes you think that you can pull this off? Why don't you start small? Why do you want to talk to that person? Are you sure she's going to listen to you? You know, so all those dialogues happen in our minds. And research has shown that we all think about 6,200 thoughts every day. 80% of those thoughts are negative and 95% of them are repetitive. Now, if I were to ask anyone listening to this, how many of your thoughts yesterday do you remember? It would likely be, say, less than 100. But you had 6,200 thoughts going through your mind. And if research has shown that 80% of those thoughts are negative and 95% of those thoughts are repetitive, then that's an area that you should be paying attention to, actually. And so that's why today we're talking about watching your inner dialogue. Because you need to listen to what it is that you're saying to yourself. You need to listen to what it is that's going through your mind. And again, this is important because our thoughts influence our behaviors, and our behaviors determine our outcomes. I'm sure that we've all seen that picture of an elephant tied to a flimsy rope around a chair.
Yeah.
And then you're wondering,
why can't it move?
You know, does this elephant know that it is an elephant? Strong, powerful. What things have happened? In the past, it was likely tied to that chair when it was little. And it had tried at that time to loosen itself, but then find out it just couldn't. And so it had grown up with that mindset. Yeah.
That it couldn't do anything about the situation.
So that's why we need to watch our inner dialogue. What are you saying to yourself? Because it will determine how you show up. It will determine how you speak. It will determine how you perceive life. It will determine how you perceive other people. And then it will also determine your outcome, which is what you want out of life.
So how then can you build your confidence while watching your inner dialogue?
Okay, good question. The first thing I'll say is be aware that there's an inner dialogue. Because many times we just go through life forgetting that there is an inner dialogue. And awareness is the first step. I always preach to my clients awareness as the first step. And awareness is something like you feel yourself hesitating to submit an application that you know that you should submit. At that time, ask yourself, what's going through my mind? So you're moving from being a participator in those thoughts to being an observer of those thoughts. So you're asking yourself, what's going through my mind? I remember when one of my mentors invited me to a brainstorming session with some experts in the education space. And for the first few minutes of that brainstorming session, I didn't say anything, which is unlike me. And so I said, this is the time to check what's going on inside. And so I observed my inner dialogue, and I saw that I was thinking thoughts like, do I belong here? These people are experts. They've been here for years. They built a reputation in the education space. So what could I really say that would be like an eureka moment? And I'm being this vulnerable because I want you to realize that it's something that you have to do every day. You never really get to the point where you don't need to watch your inner dialogue anymore. So the first point is self-awareness. And then the second point is questioning those beliefs, those inner dialogues. Right, so when I was self-aware of the thoughts that were going through my mind, I began to question them. The first one was, do I belong here? And I asked myself, is this true? Do I really not belong here? Because if I didn't belong here, my mental...
In the first place.
If I didn't belong there, I wouldn't be there in the first place. And so I struck that off. I went to the next thought, which was, do I have any contribution to make that would be an eureka moment? And I told myself, contributions that we make are based on the experiences that we have. We're four in that room. I was the only woman, but none of us has the same experiences. So I will make contributions based on the experiences and the expertise that I have. So after being aware of those thoughts, you need to begin to question them. And this is something that I tell my clients to do as a confidence and visibility coach. One of my clients came and her issue was, I find that I don't speak out in meetings. I don't speak up in meetings. And so I was like, why don't you speak up in meetings? And then we had to question, be aware, why don't you speak up? And so she said, okay, because I'm scared that I would say something foolish. Okay, why would you be scared that you'd say something foolish? You've risen to this level in your organization. If they thought you were foolish, you wouldn't have gotten the promotion to this level. For another client is, I don't speak up during meetings. And then we went on this questioning session, and she found that it was because she was the fifth of 6 children, and she grew up hearing, listen to your brother, he's older than you, he knows more. Listen to your sister, she's older than you, she knows more. And so she had grown up with the mindset that people who are older than she is know more. But the first step is always be aware of that inner dialogue. And then question it. Is this real? Is this true? Because if it's not fact-based, then you shouldn't even be thinking about it at all. Is it true? Is it necessary? And does it improve on the silence? Because it's better to have the silence, you know, than to have those thoughts in your mind. And then do what it is that you will do regardless of those thoughts.
So I find all of these really very, really important. However, something comes to mind.
All right.
Distraction. You know, there's one thing about inner thoughts. You might be thinking, as you said, 6,200 thoughts a day. So what is stopping you from, grabbing that item you want is probably just distraction. So here you are in a meeting. You're not speaking up subsequently. Like, because first meeting, you don't speak up. Second meeting, you don't speak up. Third meeting, and people think, oh, she's dumb, or he doesn't have anything up there. But really, it's probably because you're allowing yourself get overwhelmed with life issues. So when people are talking, for example, you're paying attention, or so you think, but then you're thinking of the bills you haven't paid. You're thinking of where the next meal will come from. You're thinking of the request that has been made from the village, making reference to the 6,200 thoughts. So you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that sometimes it's not really because people don't believe they are where they're supposed to be. It might be because they are probably overwhelmed by life's issues as well. That's my thoughts, though.
Okay, and that's a valid thought. That's a valid thought. There's a place for distraction. I mean, we all get distracted every day. But there's a distinction between distraction and a lack of confidence. If you're not speaking up in meetings because you're distracted, then it's how can I pull my mind back to being here?
Exactly.
How can I pull my mind back to being here? And to make that happen, I think it would be, think of what is in it for you. What is in it for me if I speak up in this meeting? What is in it for me if I make valuable contributions at this meeting? So if focus is the issue, bring yourself back. There will be time to think about that. When you're having lunch, when you're having breakfast, you can think about those other things. But while you're here, be mindful and do your best to be present here. But if confidence is the issue, then that's a different conversation where you have to, like I said, be aware of those thoughts, question the thoughts, and then do the exact opposite.
I'm bringing this up because for many people, and this is a thing about life, perception is key. Now, you might say to yourself, I'm a confident person, I can do whatever I want to do, I know that I'm intelligent, I know that I'm this, I know that I'm that, but people's perception of you is not the same because sometimes your inner thoughts have given you a different outlook to them. And that's why I talked about the distraction. So your mind probably isn't even where it's supposed to be, especially when you're at meetings. There are people are different, and that's why I'm asking you to correct me if I'm wrong. There are some people who function better by sending messages than physical meetings. In such cases, such a person would be said to be, oh, she lacks confidence. She would rather hide behind the keypad. But really, it's probably because the person struggles with collecting their thoughts. Now, if you have a client like that, who struggles with collecting their thoughts, putting their thoughts together, being mindful, as you said, how would you handle it?
Okay. The first is prepare for meetings. Many times we go into meetings unprepared because sometimes we have preconceived notions. This meeting is just a waste of time. This should have been an email. I'm not sure I need to be in those meetings. But if you have been designated to sit in that meeting, then be prepared. Many times an agenda is shared ahead of the meeting.
Yeah.
So you have the advantage of knowing in advance what will be discussed at the meeting.
Yeah.
Prepare. So if the topic is stakeholder sensitization, for example, then you want to begin to identify who are the stakeholders. What can we do to better sensitize them? What have we done in the past that didn't work? What have we done in the past that worked? If you prepare like this, what are our competitors doing? Where is the industry going? If you prepare like that, it is unlikely that you will get to that meeting and be distracted because you've done the work preparing and you want to go into that meeting to shine. So preparation, I would say, is the very first step to avoiding distractions and shining at the meeting. Prepare, and then speak up. As much as possible, be the first to speak up because you also don't want a situation where someone has said what it is that you want to say,
yeah.
and then you're rehashing what someone already said. So be the first to speak up. Listen to other people's contributions and see if you can critique or add to what it is that you're saying. It could also be a question.
Smart people do that.
Yes, they do.
You probably even come without even knowing how to handle it, but you listen carefully and pick points.
And pinpoint. It could also be a question to what someone has said. Someone says something, and then you ask a probing question that makes everybody think,
That's true.
is this really the way to go? Yeah, so don't just think it has to be my own
opinion,
thoughts.
yeah.
Yeah, it could be leveraging the opinions of other people and asking questions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are actually so many ways to look at this, and I'm so glad we had this conversation because I was trying to also disabuse the fact that, people's beliefs that confidence sometimes is just straight-jacketed. There are actually several things that contribute to it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm not going to let you go.
Okay.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we have breakfast for you.
Woo!
Yeah, so we're heading straight to the kitchen right now for breakfast by Chef Ariola. Welcome to the kitchen right here on Wake Up Nigeria. Chef Ariola has done his magic.
Yes, he has.
And this, folks, is breakfast. Coconut yam porridge. That's what we're having for breakfast. I don't know, man. You just do the honors. Dig into it. And let's have your feedback. What's your take on this?
And do that.
It looks nice.
Coconut.
It does look nice.
This is actually coconut flakes.
Yes.
So I could have even thought that it's cheese, but it's not. It's actually the coconut flakes was for garnishing.
All
Let's get
right.
out. Let's get out.
I love it.
You love it? Okay, that's the
This is my first time of having coconut yam porridge, and it tastes really great. I like the flavor that it brings to the traditional porridge. Well done, chef.
Thank you, ma.
Aha, see? I already said it that it's unique. I said it.
I was
haven't even had
pleasantly surprised, and then of course there's fish in there as well, which is Mike's favorite thing in the whole world.
Well, there's nothing better than
It's a pala.
But yeah, chef, well done.
Thank you very much.
Good one.
We've started off the week in a marvelous way. May you have a marvelous Monday. We will be back 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Bye.